The Discourses of Christ of the Last Days. Words on Other Topics. Excerpt. For all those who have now believed in God for several years, even though they have laid down a foundation, there is a real problem that must be resolved. Most people have some understanding of all aspects of the truth, and they can speak and preach the correct words and doctrines, but they have not experienced the correctness of these words in their real lives. They have not truly experienced what the real meaning and practical side of the truths contained within those words are. To enter the truth reality, you need a suitable environment, the correct people by your side, and suitable people, events, and things that enable you to grow in life. This way, both these truths and these doctrines that you understand will be confirmed and will make you gain experience. If a living seed is dropped into fertile soil, but it lacks the sun's rays and the moisture of rainwater, will the bud that grows from it not wither? Therefore, when you have heard many sermons, many truths, and many of God's words, and you have already ascertained that this path is the correct one and the right path in life, what do you need at this time? You need to ask God to arrange a suitable environment for you that is edifying and helpful for your life and can make you grow in life. This environment may not be very comfortable. One's flesh must endure hardship, and one must renounce and let go of many things. This is something that you have all experienced by now. For example, say that you were persecuted and unable to return home, to see or get in touch with your children or spouse, to meet with your relatives or friends, or to receive any news from them. In the dead of night, you would begin to think about home. How is my father doing? He's old, and I have no way to honor him. My mother is in poor health, and I don't know how she's doing now. Wouldn't you always be thinking about these matters? If your heart is always constrained by such things, what consequences will it bear on the performance of your duty? It is beneficial to your life progress if you do not get mixed up or concern yourself so much with worldly, fleshly matters. Your thinking and worrying will not serve any function. These matters are all in the hands of God, and you cannot change the fates of your family members. You must understand that your top priority as a believer in God is to be considerate of His intentions, to do your duty, to gain true faith, to enter the reality of God's words, to grow in life, and to gain the truth. This is what matters most. On the surface, it seems as if people actively forsake the world and their families. But what is actually going on? It is orchestrated by God. It is He who prevents you from seeing your family. To put it more aptly, God deprives you of them. Aren't these the most practical words? People always say that God holds sovereignty over and arranges things. So how does He hold sovereignty over this matter? He brings you out of your home, not letting your family turn into a burden that encumbers you. So, where does He take you? He takes you to an environment where there are no entanglements of the flesh, where you cannot see your loved ones. When you worry about them and want to do something for them, you cannot. And when you want to offer your filial piety, you cannot. They cannot entangle you anymore. God has moved you away from them and deprived you of all these entanglements. Otherwise, you would still be filial to them, render service for them, and slave away for them. Is God moving you away from all these external entanglements a good or bad thing? It is something good, and there is no need to regret it. Since it is a good thing, what should people do? People should thank God, saying, "God loves me so much." One cannot overcome the bondage of affection on their own, because people's hearts are all constrained by affection. They all wish to be united with their family, for their whole family to gather together, with everyone safe, healthy, and happy, and to spend every day like this, without ever separating. But there is a bad side to this. You will devote all of your life's energy and efforts, your youth, your greatest years, and all the best parts of your life to them. You will give your whole life for the sake of your flesh, family, loved ones, work, fame and gain, and all kinds of complicated relationships. And you will consequently completely destroy yourself. So, how does God love man? God says, "Don't destroy yourself in this mud pit. If both of your feet are stuck, you won't be able to pull yourself out no matter how you exhaust yourself. You don't have the stature or the bravery, not to mention the faith. I will bring you out myself." This is what God does, and He does not discuss it with you. Why doesn't God ask for people's opinions? Some people say, God is the creator. He does whatever He wants. Humans are like ants and bugs. They are nothing in the eyes of God. This is how things are. But is that how God treats people? No, it isn't. God expresses so many truths and gifts them to man, enabling people to be cleansed of their corruption and to gain a new life from Him. God's love for man is so great. These are all things that people can see. God has intentions for you. His purpose in bringing you here is to make you embark on the correct path in life, to live out a life of meaning, a path that you would not be able to choose on your own. People's subjective wish is to spend their lifetime safe and sound, and even if they don't make a fortune, at least they want to be united with their family forever and enjoy this kind of familial happiness. They don't understand how to be considerate of God's intentions, nor do they understand how to give thought to their future destinations or to God's intention to save humanity. But God does not make a fuss over their lack of understanding, and He does not need to say too much to them, because they don't understand. Their stature is too small, and any discussion would only reach an impasse. Why would it reach an impasse? Because the great matter of God's management plan to save humanity is not something that people can understand with just one or two sentences of explanation. Since that is the case, God makes decisions and acts directly, until the day comes when people eventually understand. when God takes some of His chosen people out of the adverse environment of mainland China, His goodwill is in this, which everyone can now see. In regard to this matter, people must often show gratitude and thank God for showing them grace. You have emerged from that family environment, broken away from all the complicated interpersonal relationships of the flesh, and extricated yourself from all worldly and fleshly entanglements. God has brought you out of a complex snare and into His presence and into His house. God says, "It is peaceful here. This place is very good, and it is well suited for your growth." This is where God's words and guidance are, and where the truth reigns. God's intention to save humanity lies here, and the work of salvation is centered here. So, grow to your heart's content here. God brings you into this kind of environment, an environment that may not contain the comfort of your loved ones, where your children are not around to care for you when you get sick, and where there is no one for you to confide in. When you are by yourself, and you think about the suffering and difficulties of your flesh and everything you will face in the future, in those times, you will feel alone. Why will you feel alone? One objective reason is that people are too small in stature. What is the subjective reason?
People do not completely let go of their fleshly loved ones.
That's right. It is that people are unable to let go of them. People who live in the flesh take as pleasures the various relationships and family bonds of the flesh. They believe that people can't live without their loved ones. Why is it that you do not think of how you came into the world of man? You came alone, originally without relations to others. God brings people here one by one. When you came, you were in fact alone. You did not feel alone at that time. So why do you feel alone when God brings you here now? You think that you are missing a partner that you can confide in, whether it be your children, your parents, or your other half, your husband or wife, and so you feel alone. Then, when you feel alone, why don't you think of God? Is God not a companion to man? When you feel the most suffering and sadness, who can truly comfort you? Who can truly resolve your difficulties? Only God can truly resolve people's difficulties. If you are sick, and your children are by your side, pouring you drinks and waiting on you, you will feel quite happy. But in time, your children will get fed up, and no one will be willing to wait on you. In times like those, you will feel truly alone. So now, when you think that you have no partner, is that really true? It is actually not, since God is always keeping you company. God does not leave people. He is someone they can rely on and find shelter in at all times, and their only confidant. So, no matter what difficulties and suffering befall you, no matter what grievances or matters of negativity and weakness you are confronted with, if you come before God and pray at once, His words will give you comfort and resolve your difficulties and all your different problems. In an environment like this, your loneliness will become the basic condition for experiencing God's words and gaining the truth. As you experience, you will slowly come to think, I am still living a good life after leaving my parents, a fulfilling life after leaving my husband, and a peaceful and joyous life after leaving my children. I am no longer empty. I will no longer rely on people. I will rely on God instead. He will provide for me and help me at all times. Although I cannot touch him or see him, I know that he is by my side at all times and in all places. As long as I pray to him, as long as I call on him, he will move me and make me understand his intentions and see the proper path. At that time, he will truly become your God, and all of your problems will be resolved.